Jim, what's the biggest difference why you guys are performing at the level you are this year compared to last year? Obviously,
I've always said that I think familiarity has a lot to do with success. Our staff stayed together. Our players stayed. Those kids, those two running backs choosing to stay with us, had a hell of a lot to do with it. They understand the plays. They understand our temperaments. They know who we are. We all know one another a lot better now. We know the objectives. We know there's no false pretense. We're all out for the same thing. And I think that we've influxed a few other players into our starting lineup that have helped us get to where we're at. But at the end of the day, we believe in what we're doing and we're playing super hard. Are we the most talented offense out there in the history of the world? I would argue probably not. But I would argue you could turn on the tape and we might play as hard as most people. That's our goal. Our goal is always to be the hardest playing team we can be. And I feel like we do that week in, week out. We usually show up. Which is what we want to do.
So when Jacob gets hurt and Rob goes in, it wasn't a case of an entire offseason of planning goes out the window?
No, we kind of mainstreamed all those kids. When we go, that we put a system of play in, and obviously if one was playing, you'd lead a little bit one way, and the other one's playing, you'd lead a bit the other way. But Jacob and Jake both have a good understanding of what we need to do, so we weren't really having to tilt the scale heavily one way or the other to accommodate one skills over the other. We both drop back guys that like to play football, so that helped.
Jim, at the same time, having Jake as opposed to Jacob concentrate the offense in any way, did it make you maybe become more of one thing than you would have been otherwise?
I don't feel that way, but you just go. You know, when the season starts and you play this game, you play this game, you play this game, you have very little time for reflection. Like I told you guys last year in the same thing, there'll be a lot of time for reflection when this season's concluded. Right now, I don't think that way. I just feel like we just kind of got on a roll becoming who we were, and I tried to stay with that identity the best that we can.
You know, Florida State loses its quarterback in the first game, you're at 6-6. You lose your quarterback in the first game and go to the national.
Damnedest thing, ain't it? I don't know the answers to those questions sometimes, other than sometimes you're just luckier than you are good. Yes. And I know Jimbo might have a different opinion on that. I guess what I would argue is I hated it for Jacob when he got hurt. And by the way, he's been the most special kid in the world throughout this whole process. But I really am glad that one right there was the guy behind him when he stepped in. He acted like a seasoned vet and ran with the ball. And in a lot of our success, you've got to look at the fact that he's handled that position well.
Jim, what?
Your formative thing.
Yeah, Mark. Yeah.
What do you remember about Titan House?
Oh my goodness! I was laughing last night. We over in the hospitality room having a cocktail, talking about some old memories from Gene and the Cal State Fullerton bunch. It's just a lot. I can remember in 1984 driving out here with a Chevrolet Chevette with no floorboard in it. You know, the first place I stopped was Blackie's by the Sea down in Newport. Hell, I'm a Missouri farm boy. I think I'm in heaven, right? So, and then getting the blessing to work with Murph for as long as I did, and just the joy he always shared going to work every day. I think of the things that I took from him.
You got more with less. I mean, you got.
Oh God, we never had anything. So anything you got, you earned, and I think those are things I learned on the farm that were reinforced in Fullerton. So a lot of good memories down there, the old flooring spills in Fullerton.
When you're out and about in Athens area, pumping gas or stopping for coffee or something, that you get people come up to you and say, "Hey, how good job this year," and how different is it versus last year?
Yeah, you do. You know, different than last year. Last year didn't meet anybody's expectations. It was a difficult year for everybody, particularly me, because I have a lot of pride in what I like to do, and I hate putting products out that don't meet the expectations, but nobody does. And I've shared this with every one of y'all before. When your job's not going the way you want it, it's a difficult thing for anybody to live through. So what do you got? You got choices then. You pull up your sleeves and you get your ass back to work and you do the best that you can. And I was lucky enough that the pieces that I had to go to work with, all this kind of fell into a beautiful puzzle this year, and it's been a pleasure to be a part of it. I'm tickled to death of it.
How did the offensive line?
They just play so they play so hard. I think Sam always does a wonderful job. I think with Andrew coming in at right tackle and making that solid, and Isaiah moving out to the left and making us solid on the edges. We had really good tackle play throughout the season, and 3 inside guys have battled and play hard, and it's been fun to watch those guys. But they just play hard as heck. I just see that position within our offense just continuing to grow to a standard that we can do what we want on any game. Everybody wants to think about other positions, but I guess I'm a line of scrimmage guy, and I think you got to have a good quarterback. You got to have line. When you got that, you can move the ball enough to have measured success.
Jim, what was it about Kendall just kind of, well, he kind of seemingly came out of nowhere there?
Well, I'll tell you, he did. I wasn't counting on Kendall Baker, but Kendall Baker during training camp played harder than everybody we had, and made it where we could not put him on the field, which is what you want kids to do. And I think what happened to Kendall, Lamont was playing and Dyson was playing, and they're his buddies, and he woke up one morning and said, well, hell, if they're playing, why can't I? And he went to work on it and tip your hat to the young man. He played his butt off for us all season.
Is the Sam Pittman we see on those recruiting videos that pops up on his Twitter, is that what he's known as? Is he that personality all the time?
No, he's more of a jackass than what No, he's a good friend and a good man. Everything you see it. We've got a pretty transparent staff. We're pretty authentic. Just what you see is what you get with us. We don't tend to be something we're not. And a lot of y'all know me for a lot of years. Just kind of the way we are.
Jim, why did the transition to Jake become pretty seamless? It seems to be with the players.
Last one here, guys.
Well, I think he's such a humble young man, and his appreciation for the role that he stepped into, and he had a great appreciation of the struggles that Jacob was going through, and the team could feel that and sense that. And just humility, I would say, has much to do with anything. But he's a talented young man, and after a while, the kids started, hey, we're all right.
Yeah.
You know, I think when we went out and we beat Notre Dame up there, it was a tight ball game. I called a real conservative day that day. People asked that game, his first start up there, I was probably a little more conservative than I probably should have been. But it worked, and we won. But after we left that place, I think there was a feeling that, all right, you know, we got a chance to play with about anybody right now. So it was fun.